If you want to unleash a deadly spell, make sure you stay within the lines. Here's your look at the NECA toys, Toony Terrors, the beauty of horror, Ghouliana. Bring the fun of Saturday morning cartoons to your horror collection with the adorable little creeps of Toony Terrors, NECA's line of stylized horror icons. Standing approximately 6 inches tall, Ghouliana from the Beauty of Horror joins the Toony Terrors line. The figure comes with a blister card packaging with bonus cutout backdrop. Thanks to Ghouliana here, now you can bleed by numbers. Before we get a closer look at the NECA toys, Toony Terrors, the Beauty of Horror, Ghouliana, let's grab the tape measure and see how tall the figure stands. Now, I have to include in this case the display stand because the figure won't stand without it. Also, as well, while I'm doing this, I'd like to thank the folks over at NECA Toys that did provide the sample of Ghouliana that we could have a look in this review. Ghouliana, though, with stand included, I would say is about 5¼ inches in height, or the figure's going to be about 13 centimeters tall. And for a couple of comparisons, let's bring in Ghouliana's wave mates. Here's what the figure looks like, not with the stand, though. Here's what she looks like with the Killer Clowns from Outer Space Shorty. Here's what she also looks like with the Teen Wolf Scott Howard. And here's what she also looks like with They Live Alien, male alien more to be exact. Normally is the case when you get these Toony Terrors that on the back of the packaging you have yourself a cardboard cutout backdrop that of course you can have displayed behind the figure. I don't know if I would do it this time around. To be honestly fair, I haven't done it with any of the Toony Terrors as of late simply just because they take up so much space then on my shelf. But I don't know if I would also do this with Ghouliana simply just because, again, like when you're looking at the cardboard cutouts, usually it's just the backdrop alone. This time around, you're actually treated to the character, which I think is somewhat redundant considering that you're going to have the character standing in front of it anyways. I would have probably just omitted her altogether, kept maybe the bats, kept the torches in the back, and maybe kept the cobblestone pathway, and maybe just done away with her altogether. Because again, like if you're going to be putting it behind the character, it kind of defeats the purpose altogether, really. If you're going to have the character there, and then you're going to have the character in the foreground. Anyways, she does come include with that in case you did want to cut this out. Ghouliana does already, as mentioned, comes included with the display stand. The display stand is ever crucial because once you remove it, you'll notice right away that she does have pegs sticking out from the bottoms of her feet, rendering her absolutely useless when it comes to her standing. Not only does she need the display stand for decorative purposes, but she definitely needs this in order to stand properly, so don't lose this. Quickly looking at the display stand itself, it's molded here in a black plastic, obviously 2 peg holes on the top that are going to meet in the middle, so to speak, with the pegs on her feet. Here on the front, though, not a television series nor a movie, usually is the case when it comes to Toony Terrors. In this case, Beauty of Horror is an Alan Roberts series of coloring books, adult coloring books, produced by IDW. I think they're well into either the 5th or the 6th volume already. I've kind of been tempted to pick up a couple for myself. So I'm kind of glad to see that Ghouliana has made an appearance into Toony Terrors, even though she really doesn't exist in the realms of TV or movies, where usually Toony Terrors tend to be. The font is a little harder to read, simply just because it's so dark. You've got a very dark red outlined in a white, but it's very kind of hard to make out what's going on here. And of course, you can take yourself Ghouliana and just plug her onto those holes provided. She is a little harder, I honestly have to say, is to fit into those holes. I ended up having to heat this actually with a hairdryer just because I found like the pegs were hard to kind of fit in there the first time around, and I didn't want to buckle the plastic pegs in the process. So it's a lot of peas. Getting, though, a closer look at Ghouliana. The neat thing about this figure, not only is she a gruesome sight to see, but speaking of things to see, that she also does have glowing eyes. I'm going to bring in my black light for this. I also could have cut the lights as well, but I think to get that full effect, watch the horror. As I draw this across her eyes, you can see how well those eyes glow. It seems also to be the case as well that her teeth glow, but not as bright as her eyes. And again, the longer you have a lamplight source shining on this, the more those eyes will then glow. You may even be able to see it. Ooh, you may be able to see it with my eyes, with my fingers covering over top of it. But I think that's a really fun touch. I think it's one of the only few Toony Terrors that we've actually gotten that have a glowing feature to it. Turning that off right now so it's not going to stick in your memory banks for tonight when you go to sleep. Good luck for that. I do like the scarring that they put to her face. It looks fairly much like her from again, what little I've seen of the actual coloring books. I'm probably planning to pick up at least one of them because I've really gotten into coloring as of late. In fact, not that I should be admitting this, I got myself a big box of like 64 Crayola crayons. If I'm going to be going old school coloring, I'm going to be going old school coloring with Crayola crayons. Anyways, getting a closer look at the head sculpt again, it's more pale mostly in nature. You got a little bit of scarring happening there. I like just like the texturing that they put to the face here as well. It's not one I would certainly expect to see in a Scooby-Doo episode, but I think she still fits pretty well in with the Toony Terror line. She has long locks, mostly here cast in black plastic. She has herself a tiny little bow at the top that's not removable, that's painted nicely. You can also see as well, just in the middle of the bow, there's a skull. I think that's a nice little touch also as well. She does have, of course, very limited articulation. It tends to be the territory when it comes to Toony Terrors. Doing a lot of letter carryovers this time around. She does have a long blue dress. The dress itself, as you can see, is finished on the bottom. And there is no articulation that I thought may have been, oh, maybe there is. Oh, there wasn't articulation when I was looking at this before, but there seems to be just a little more tighter. In fact, actually, you know what? Let's just remove her from the display stand for right now. The wings are more of a very light yellow. Painted pretty good also as well. She does have a trim that's basically left from the wings on the back of her body. She has some really nice sculpting happening for the wings also as well. And I do think that the pose is quite good too. She sort of has like a very demonic ballerina look to her. For the articulation on Ghouliana, I suppose it could be Ghouliana, but I think I'd rather call her Ghouliana myself. The head does rotate, but as you could probably already see, there's going to be limitations just because there's, of course, hair draped down the front like curtains. It's going to make things pretty much null and void when it comes to rotating her head back and forth. Her head does look down only by a little bit, and it also looks up. It actually seems to look up a lot better than it does looking down. So if you wanted to have her kind of looking to the sky, what's she looking at? Oh, I should have never looked up. The figure does also have a swivel in her arms. She doesn't have anything in the hands. She has a waist swivel, and I thought that would have been enough. But turns out as well, she does also have a swivel on the bottoms of her legs. I feel really if she's going to have it here, she doesn't necessarily need to have it here, but I'm still glad that the fact that they took the time to do that. Just quickly showing you guys all the little marks that she has. It looks like she was bitten by an army of mosquitoes. And of course, she's got some nice panel lining down below here. It almost looks for a second like she should really have shoes, but then when you look closer, you realize that she actually has individual piggies. All of them are apparently going to some Satan worshipping festival, or I don't know. Anyways, getting though the display stand back in track, let's attach her feet back onto the display stand pegs. Hey, yeah, she's a nice looking figure. Once again, just to remind you guys of how scary she looks, let's just take the black light, shine it across her eyes. Yeah, you can see how well those eyes glow. And of course, then to bring in the rest of her wave mates, here's what we've already had a look at. Here's what she looks like, of course, with Killer Clown Shorty. Here's what she looks like once again with the They Live alien male. And here's also what she looks like as well with Scott's from Teen Wolf. All in all, it's a good-looking wave. This wave kind of has the more obscure-looking characters, not ones you would pick out right away to be a Toony Terror release. Scott would kind of be the one that's a little more outfield when I think it comes to Toony Terrors, but I really like the look of Ghouliana. So much so, in fact, again, ultimately, it did mean that I picked this one up a little bit last. Actually, NECA Toys was nice enough, again, to provide this sample for filling in the remaining gaps of this Toony Terror wave. And again, I'm also very interested now to get the Alan Robert Beauty of Horror. I think they're well into, again, like the 5th or the 6th volume, a coloring book series for adults, or of course kids that just like horror as well. Now, if you've ever gotten a chance to check out Alan Roberts' Beauty of Horror creepy coloring book series produced and published by IDW, one thing about the covers is they tend to be black and white with blood red accents to them. So all the characters tend to be black and white, and then you've got a little bit of red highlights in there. Getting, of course, the most mileage out of the mold. It was always the thing I always talk about in these reviews. If NECA wanted to get some more mileage out of the mold here of Ghouliana, why not release this? Similar to those covers, black and white, with the red accents kept in place where she has the scarring on the face. I think it would make for a really good, creepy release. Something that they could either do as a convention exclusive, or, hey, why not? Just release it in stores. I would be picking up right away. I like the molding of this one quite a bit. And it may have something to do with my demented demeanor that I like just creepy-looking characters, creepy-looking girls. And when it comes to Ghouliana, she checks off a lot of those boxes. The figure has a good pose to her. She has, of course, limited articulation. That goes with the territory with all the Toony Terrors in the first place. This one, unlike most Toony Terrors, is relegated to a display stand, sadly, just by the pose alone. Even if she just had flat feet, she'd have no way to properly stand on her own, but luckily they at least included a display stand. Something I kind of, now looking at it, wish that they could have done with the other Toony Terrors, given a circular display stand with, of course, maybe the name of the movie featured on the front and have the character standing on top of it. But what do you guys think of Ghouliana? Let me know down below in the comment section. And have you ever picked up any of the Beauty of the Horror creepy coloring books? If you have, let me know down below in the comment section. Probably going to be starting, I think, with volume 1. Either that or I'll just jump in and see whatever they have available, maybe over on Amazon or on eBay. And I've already got myself my Crayola crayons all ready to go. They're not here. They're upstairs. Big thank you once again to the folks over at NECA Toys that did provide the sample of the Beauty of Horror Ghouliana from their remaining line of Toony Terrors. This was the last figure we had to look at from this particular wave. If you guys enjoyed this video, want to hit with a like. If you guys are loving the content you guys are seeing, and certainly do want to stick around for more NECA, FYI, we are going to be looking at some more NECA stuff. That probably goes with the territory. But yeah, if you haven't already had the chance to do so, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, and that you're also turning on the bell notification. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.